Okay, welcome to the August 19th, 2024 regular school board meeting, Joint District 171. We'll call the meeting to order with a roll call.
Trustee St. Germain.
Here.
Trustee Craig.
Here.
Trustee Daniels.
Here.
And Trustee Kepke.
Here. Awesome. If you'll join me for a salute to the flag of the United States. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can we get a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Just FYI, I do have two small, short items for executive. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay. We have a consent agenda related to bills and finances. Are there any questions?
You skipped approval minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Can we get a motion to approve the minutes of the July meeting?
I'll make a motion that we approve the July 15, 2024 regular school board meeting minutes as
I'll
presented.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Now we can go to the consent agenda. I didn't.
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
And the negotiations process taught me a lot about where we are around budgeting, you know, and it is truly an incredible pro forma exercise. So it looks like we start our school year with about 18% of our funding. Is what it kind of looked like to me. Does that
And then chase for the rest.
feel right? Okay. Any further, yeah, any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Okay, so we're moving on to reports and recognitions. I know that Roy's staff, Russell's staff, Derek, your folks in bus maintenance, Carmen, your work through the summer, and all of the leadership team with everything that we went through this summer and process-wise, I just wanted to say thank you. I feel like we're ready to hit the ground running, and I was honored to be at District Day and see all of the faces and just we filled the room. I was sad that I couldn't stay for the presenter and more of the day, but it was great. It's great. So I thank you all. Any other?
Just District Day. I was able to stay a little longer than Chris. The presenter was awesome. I think Jason did a great job. Really liked seeing how long people had been working for the district. You kind of forget, and when he made everyone stand up, that was pretty cool. Realizing how we've had some people for a long time, which says a lot about, we're always feel like you're always trying to find people, but there are a lot of good people that have been here a long time. So that was really cool to see. And just the feel like this is my third District Day as a school board member, and I just felt very welcome. The smiling, the laughing was really cool. Good way to start the year. So great job to everyone that helped with that.
Yeah, it was my first one, so I hope to attend more and be able to book them so I can actually be
Be
there.
there longer.
Yeah, and Jason's dry sense of humor didn't get him in any trouble either. Yeah, not yet anyway, huh?
Fair hasn't reached out to us.
Good. Right. Okay. We don't have any committee reports. So we do have some, one of the things that came to my attention with committees is in our food policy. It's 8,700, right, Carmen?
7407. Is that one you're talking about?
The one where we should have a nutrition, health and well-being committee.
Yeah, and the 8,000.
I thought it was at 8,700. So we have not had an active committee there. And it is an issue for us with our USDA. So I think I'd like to build kind of an outreach plan together and see if we can rebuild that. And I'm real curious if there are other committees that we should have in association with our programs that we could engage community and maybe agree to take on. Not all, but sort of spread the workload and the engagement. And so if you leaders have a committee within your realm that should be active, you believe, or would be beneficial, let us know. Let us know in your reports and we'll tackle that. I think food and health, sort of well-being, aside from the wellness committee that we're going to read on a second note today, it's a bit of a passion of mine and I would be willing to participate. And so I'll follow up with you on that. Okay, moving on to policy updates. We have our policy tracker. We have the second reading, of 5,600, which is not linked. But this
In your agenda.
policy. Thank
Oh,
you.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, right there.
Next one down. Yep. We added a staff wellness section specifically, or added a paragraph to staff wellness specifically to read as part of our ongoing commitment to promoting a healthy and supportive work environment for all staff members. Joint School District 171 will encourage staff to form a staff wellness committee. This committee will be dedicated to enhancing the well-being of our educators and support staff by implementing initiatives that address physical health, mental wellness, and overall job satisfaction. So we would like to adopt that tonight in the action items. Do you want to go over your other policies in the tracker?
I don't know if you want to, if everybody had a chance to look through them, all the ones that I highlighted in red are the ones that we should tackle first, and those are required updates to required policies.
I was looking at 2705 because we had a question about immunization and I can't find where it's different than what we have. And I don't see any track changes. So do you know?
It says this update adds direction to the reader to further information about immunization exemptions and some minor grammar and usage cleanup.
So it really didn't change.
You see
Well-
column H, that gives you a summary of the changes.
Yeah, I didn't see it. So if you guys please, since it really reads nothing substantive different, then we could, do we read the entire thing in a first reading?
No, I mean, it's completely up to you. Typically, people read them ahead of time and know if there's something to discuss, we can discuss.
Yeah.
But it's to bring awareness to those,
No, I read it with our existing and I really didn't see anything substantive. I would personally be comfortable with calling this a first read, but that's up to you.
No, me too. Like I said, when they're just simple changes. Grammar mostly, it sounds like.
So that would be 2705.
Mhm. We said 5,600 is a second read.
Yep.
So we're good there. So then the next one would be 3060.
Yep.
Any major changes to it?
Access.
Over one.
that
Yeah.
change on that 3060 allows, if you had a student that was designated homeless and you could assign credit for partially completed courses. It's just adding more flexibility for homeless students.
Okay.
Down in 7407, that there's some changes in the purchasing amounts. They moved the thresholds up.
So back to 3060 in this, thinking about our influx and outflux of actual students over the year. It seems like a flexibility for those homeless students that may be moving in and out makes sense.
I agree.
It's a required update to a required policy. So, I mean, it's,
Pretty.
yeah.
And it's not like we are eliminating criteria, right?
Nope.
So they're not gonna, regardless of whether they're homeless, if they need to meet the standard requirements for graduation at the end.
It's allowing
Because-
flexibility in assigning credit is what that one piece is about.
Mhm.
So if you came were designated homeless and you had completed most of a course, principal could assign credit for that.
I like it,
With the passing grade.
Mhm.
but it's on the principles and flexibility. Still good with that.
Anybody have any concerns or thoughts about that?
No, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll call that a first read.
Yep.
Okay. And then 9100, is that the next one?
7407.
Oh.
Find that.
It's gray.
One of us changed on accident. 7407. I pulled it up before
Yeah.
why it was red.
Oh, you made it gray.
I don't think I changed the color, but
Okay.
Google tracks it, so I'm not gonna say I didn't.
Oh, and this is alignment with state procurement, new state
Yeah.
procurement rules. Didn't we do a first read on this one already?
Thought we did.
Yeah.
On
We,
that one.
Mhm.
no, I don't think so. I think we changed, and put the child nutrition sentence in there. It says we will follow state thresholds.
That's what we did.
Because they do change, and now the states come out and they're updating their policy to reflect those changes in thresholds.
That makes sense. I remember that now.
Mhm.
We just added to it. We didn't do a first read. Once again, pretty
Well, this is
straightforward.
driven by the state, so
Exactly. There isn't
um,
much. There's nothing that.
getting caught up. Any
It's
concern
shot.
with calling this a first read?
Good for me.
And it calls out specifically the child nutrition program with different criteria, Carmen. So the micro purchase is up to 10,000. Small purchase is 10,001 to 49,999. So that under 50.
And I think the formal bidding now went from 100,000 to 150.
100,000 and above.
No, that is the old.
I'm linked to the old one.
Column 1, is that the old one? Column 1's your old one, what we have now.
Thank
Column
you.
2 is what they're suggesting the changes.
I did need column 2.
We just have to make sure that the sentence you added last month or the month before is added to the, when you approve the updated version.
So
There we go. 100 to 150. 7 days before opening. Crossed out the thing about jails or detention, which doesn't affect us.
mhm. Fill in the link on the document.
These thresholds were changed in the law, so the
Mhm.
policy is just changing to
Yeah.
align to the code.
So again, I don't see why
Nope. All pretty
we wouldn't
standard.
consider it a first read. And make sure we follow the rule, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then 9100,
Second that. No, first.
Keeps telling me to request
I know,
access
so then
to
go
the
back to
new
the
one.
first tab. Let me in the first tab.
First tab, the old one.
It's our existing one, yeah.
First column's existing policy, second, the ones that say ISBA, that's the proposed.
And you give access?
And
Yeah, I just put a request up for the
Yeah.
immunization one. Didn't have that one, 900.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, if they let you share that thing.
I don't have.
they have access to this, but it's the ones inside of it that looks like it's
Working now.
giving them
I
trouble.
have the other ones.
Which one? 9100?
Yeah,
100.
I need them too.
I have the 74.
And that's not fair. Are you on policy committee? You have
No,
an inside room.
I don't. It's just accepting mine quicker. 9100, right? Is that what we're on?
Yep.
No, I don't.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's 7400.
Okay, so, sale of property worse than $1,000. Did we decide we're not interested in selling that property at Orofino Junior Senior High School?
I don't think we ever read about it.
I don't think we did
I
either.
don't know that anybody was interested in it.
Okay, yeah.
Was something Michael brought up.
The future, we've sold a lot of property throughout history and we're wishing we had it back.
Right.
Agree.
Yeah.
So.
Especially
I think
because usually
we
people are
should be
buying it, the
very-
neighbors, they don't want to pay much for it. It's not
very
like we're making.
careful
And
about
with
selling
our
property.
enhanced forestry programs, I think we could do some cool things with maybe planting
Oh my
some
God.
species up there that are drought tolerant or root rot tolerant or, yeah.
Okay, we're got in now.
Okay, are we in?
So that's changed.
Um, So approve, we published.
This document. The link.
I just don't
So
see a
it's
reason,
links.
why we wouldn't align with the state
I agree.
around procurement and
No.
purchasing.
Yep.
Okay,
Another first read then?
Yep.
Good. We get all the reds, Jason?
do we need to go down
Keep
into
going.
1140?
Go. Oh, there we go.
House Bill 645, which changed vacancies after recall elections to say the vacancy exists upon certification of the election by the Board of County Commissioners. Oh. Okay, that's kind of a no-brainer. Mhm.
You get in?
I'm just reading the highlight here.
You can see on 1140 that that's a recommended, required update to a recommended policy, but we do have the recommended.
We do
policy.
have the policy, yeah. And the same thing for 1500p.
Yeah, required.
I'm good with those.
Do. Health enhancements.
So this is a great example of board members that have not completely done their homework. So we apologize for that. You're watching us read policy that we don't have access to. Can you get me into 2320?
I just requested also.
Try.
Updates related to adoption and abortion providers are recommended updates to a required policy. The other dates are optional.
I knew we shouldn't have let Becca step down from this a year ago. We were
So
doing
this
so
is-
good. We were so caught up. 1 year without you, and look what happened.
6 months.
We're not even.
6 months. We fell apart.
You ready to come back seeing us struggle like this? I know, I know.
So this is,
I don't like it at all.
so, yeah, so 2320, the former required districts and charter schools to provide information on adoption alongside any sex ed they provided. Now, it prohibits districts from using sex ed materials or instruction provided by an abortion provider. It removes non-required practices related to HIV prevention, and replace some optional portions on instruction about HIV and AIDS with instruction on sexually transmitted infections, excuse me. Material on sex ed was removed, placed in, out of 2340, placed in this 2320 for improved clarity and usability.
There's
Is
some
there
language
any-
here that's been changed to align with the parental rights bill.
Yeah,
And then further down, we need to make a choice, and not necessarily tonight, but the board could provide input as to which one of these two philosophies do we want to take. And at first read, this needs to go to policy, to the policy committee also, and also the administrators, but you know, we can still have a discussion about which one of these options we lean towards.
2320, I still need access. The only question I would have and suggestion for thought about this is this leading towards a requirement that if you're not compliant with this in association with the legislature's desires around abortion and sexual education, is it going to hang us up with funding in the future?
Most certainly. They're the purse strings, most certainly.
And 2500 is where you're talking about the alignment with the, that's the library.
I was talking about some of the language at the top of 2320,
2320.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
right?
Um,
And then so in the large paragraph, it's either choosing a philosophy that abstinence is the key component in sex education, or it's, you can read the rest of it, or it's one of. And so there's a philosophical decision to make there.
so maybe we hold that one and do a thoughtful read
Yeah,
and have
there's a lot going
policy
on
take a
with that
look
one.
at it and, what do you think?
I like that. Yeah,
Okay.
the other ones were very simple. This is,
So the new law requires that books that meet the legal definition of harmful to minors be placed in adult only section. Didn't we scrub our libraries pretty heavily 2 years ago?
When
Was
we
it too
had
much?
any book that was on that list initially, we looked for and we removed some that we found on the list, and then there's a process now for you know, if a parent objects to a book, they actually have a form and a process, and that's where some of this is going.
Okay.
Make sure we have that in place.
Okay, I remember that. Reading that conversation in the legislative notes. So it'd be great to have librarian input on that one.
For sure.
And then 3500
F.
parent consent. Provides model language informing parents of the type of health services the district school may provide. Doing so allows this form to be used and obtain prior parent consent to routine maintenance, required updates, and a required form.
This is what you're seeing on the news in the Boise School District relative to Band-Aids, and, you know, they sent out notices that, you know, we can no longer apply Band-Aids or, you know, any basic first aid. And so, because of the Senate Bill 1329, again, that's one of those unintended consequences of a piece of legislation that they didn't understand was, you know, could tie our hands. Not all districts are going that extreme with their interpretation. I'm anticipating a change, you know, in the law next time they convene. It doesn't stop schools from administering first aid, anything like that, you know, in an emergency situation, but it makes it harder for sure.
Because we don't all have access, we could make sure we all have access, and then for the rest of these, we could
Which one don't
You
you
only
have?
got two
Um,
left.
Don't have 3500 either.
Yeah.
I have-
3,500 F.
I've had to request for all of them.
Just on the new
I
ones.
sent my requests.
Me
Mhm,
too.
I did too, yeah.
We have 35 and 4105, and then we've hit all the red.
Yep.
Looks like it's these ISBA ones that are
The-
blocking.
They're
Yep.
blocking us.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
they're required,
Yeah, they block us.
yeah.
Well, it's not, yeah, it's not their
It's-
fault.
No,
When
it's a
it gets
Google
copied
sheet.
over, yeah.
It's our new policy committee guy. Process. I thought I've requested to all of them, but it keeps telling me I have to request.
I know.
Hmm.
No, Google. Very good at controlling who has access, as we can tell. So 3,500, we should have them
Should be good.
through that one.
All the requests are
Mhm.
approved.
Yeah, so all of them would be considered first read, except we want to take a deep dive into 2320. And get committee insight. Just need to read 2320. That on my note.
Should we do the same thing on the 35F?
That's a required, right?
It is,
So
so not much we can do.
I don't think so. It's a required update to required 2,500. Not F. Just the 2,500.
Sorry, no,
It's
the
okay.
ISB 3,500F is what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
3,500,
Yeah,
yes.
the medical one.
Required. Yeah. But because back to 2320, because we have the opportunity to make a choice of the
Yeah,
direction we want to go,
absolutely.
let's make a thoughtful choice.
Agree.
And then, Jason, that'll get us caught up to where we need to be around policy and second read for this September meeting. Perhaps,
No,
okay,
it's a start.
okay,
You know, everything on that whole spreadsheet, those are all old updates.
Yep.
So I just picked the low hanging fruit of 2 old updates
okay.
just to get us going, but
So if you could make sure all have access
sure.
to all of them, because right now I don't have, unless you've given it tonight.
Yeah, I've been clicking them as they come in, but
Okay. Do we have to do that, or Russell, is there a blanket?
it's just me. It's just when I
Oh.
put it in there, I just need to go in and make sure the permissions are set so that you can see them.
Okay,
So that was my fault. Didn't
Right.
understand that it would do that.
yep, that's okay. Okay. Okay, are we good on policy and go to building reports?
Yep.
Okay. Denise said she'd be online. Is she there?
It's got open house today.
Yeah, she said she
I got,
would try to join, and she said it was a fabulous, wonderful first day today at school.
okay.
So,
She was in there a minute ago.
okay.
Promoted her now.
Denise, would you like to share any highlights of your day?
Still muted.
Yeah.
There we go.
How's that?
Good.
Great.
I think a real highlight for me was just being able to engage with the staff and be a part of listening to the speaker. And Mr. Hunter did a really nice job of addressing all of us as a whole district. It was just really relaxed, and it felt really good to be back.
Awesome. Anything we need to be aware of as you enter your opening week?
I don't think there's anything on my end.
Right on.
Yeah, everything seems to be going along pretty smoothly.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yep, a little bit of a concern, from Cavendish with the cancellation of that bus route, but I think, we all understand where that's coming from, and we're going to work together and get things figured out. So
I'd like to turn it into a bus driver recruitment
Yeah,
strategy.
exactly.
absolutely.
So hopefully that works. Maybe somebody's grandma or grandpa says, hey, I'll drive.
Right? Yeah, we're definitely needing them.
Denise, you know how many families that actually affected? That were truly, or it might be a Derek question.
Yeah, Derek and Janine could probably give you a little more clear picture of that. I know there are some right now that are working on some plans to try to carpool and
Awesome.
make something work. We have enrolled students at OES from 2 families
Okay.
at this point, and there may be a third.
I wondered whether they would just switch.
Yeah, some of them have to,
Uh-huh.
you know, if that transportation isn't an option, but this wasn't a financial decision. It was based on no bodies, which, you know, Derek tried hard to recruit this summer, so.
Yes. Love the bus parked out in front of your school all
We
summer.
all did, yeah.
Yeah,
How's open house going? Taylor and
Great.
I are not there. Are kids behaving? Because we're here.
yeah, it was great. I saw your kids.
Awesome.
I think we had a really good turnout tonight. It was good to see everybody back. Lots of smiling faces.
Parents or kids?
Both.
What kind of percentage of student body do you get?
We usually get at this first back to school night a solid 3/4 of our student body.
Right on, right on.
Yeah,
Um,
I can have exact data as soon as we count.
Got all 3 of my grandkids. Good luck.
Yeah, I was just curious, just curious.
Yeah,
Awesome. Thank you, ma'am. Anything
yeah,
else?
thank
Or
you.
Denise? Okay, anything we need to be aware of?
We had our pre-registration today, which was unique to what we usually do.
It's a public thing.
So we did a change to registration this year where we just had 7th grade come on a day by themselves rather than with everybody else, which we thought was really a good move because they came in with backpacks and were able to open their lockers, try their lockers a couple of times and feel a little bit more of the transition to de-stress that a little bit. And we had a lot of families participate, which was exciting. So we did that today. We're working on our counselor is doing all of our right response training as well as finishing up some of the scheduling. So we're doing those final pieces. We're working on some of the transitional pieces of sending Tasha up here to Timberline, what that does to our caseloads in Orofino. So just some logistical pieces, but we're off to a really good start. I think we're in a really great place right now. When I look about where we were at the beginning of the school year last year to where we are now, there's just a lot more things set in place, a lot of systems, a lot of excitement. All of my new teaching staff is doing a nice job as well. So we did a pretty intense training on tier 1 quality instruction and behavior last week. And my staff received it really well and made some solid goals for this year. So we're in a good spot.
Excellent,
Nice.
excellent. And hopefully our officer grant will be funded and we'll have some additional support.
Okay.
Timberline?
Corey. A weekend, couple weeks in.
Yeah, exciting.
So we have had a lot of changes in our schedule and everything, our staff this year, and everyone is really working really hard to get everything ready for the kids going. They're doing a great job. And also the elementary teachers are looking at ways they're beefing up their instruction. We've had a couple of really great meetings today in ways that will beef up our reading. And then also our secondary are focusing on ways to track behavior data so that we have some better interventions for some behaviors in place.
Awesome.
You excited?
I don't know if that's on record, but yes, I am excited. It's, it's a lot. There's a lot of change. Sure. There's a lot of things coming, but, it's very positive and exciting and it's good. It's good.
Happy for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we all are. But still looking to backfill your spot, right?
We've absorbed it for now, but we'd like to get the position back. That's kind of one of the things helping everybody keep a positive attitude is, we're asking them to do a lot of extra things and new things. But that with the idea that next year we can get that spot back and open up some of our electives back to kids and kind of get people back to teaching the things that they want to teach, not that we need them to fill in. So it's that silver lining that we're hoping to get back, but we've absorbed it for now.
Okay.
Full faith and confidence in Jason over here.
Well, we are very supportive and through Superintendent Hunter, let us know if there's a resource allocation issue or something that we need to do to help that.
Right now, they've reduced 3 periods basically, and extended one teacher, a couple of other a couple more periods. So really, they're down 3 from Mrs. Pinkew's former position. So they got pretty creative on the schedule to make that work. But like she said, it was quite a team effort. Everybody had to give some to make that work. So, that's almost a half time, that they had to figure out right at the end of the summer. So
We're 3 down.
3 class periods.
And so because of my recent negotiations experience, we're still able to offer that prep protection time. Right on. I learned about that this year.
Yeah, we were able to keep everyone's preps protected, but we did have to reduce some of the electives that we offer for the kids. Not the classes themselves, but the number of times they're offered.
Gotcha.
So
See.
they had to be a little more creative with their schedules to really get the courses they wanted, but we still have them all offered and
Yep.
everyone still has their prep.
Okay. Good job.
Thank you. So I would like to just take this one note quickly while we have all 3 of you here. It would be great to standardize our report format. And with some focus on some of the data around education attainment and then of course we're always about attendance and the enrollment piece, and more feedback on that whole RTI effort that we started, to see if that helps, because we've all learned now about average daily attendance and how that relates to support units. But if we had one form template basically that we could fill in, and I think there's good in every piece. Maybe talk about what that looks like, or do they have to be different just because of the different environments?
There are definitely inherent differences between buildings, elementary, secondary, of course, IDYCA. But there definitely can be standardized, pieces of that. If you want specific data points that you want to always see, we can standardize that for you.
That's
I would
something
say
we've been
talk about
talking
it.
about for a good bit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think, yeah, if you guys get together and figure out what you could standardize, that might be the start of it. And don't make more for you guys. We're trying to streamline it, you know what I mean? But then it's easier for everybody every month.
Yeah, I know for me, one of the things that I've learned in the board trainings, right? So I'm becoming a little dangerous because I'm going to trainings now, is around the educational attainment piece. And I've learned that other boards get monthly reports on attainment, and I don't know that we need monthly reports on how our students are performing. But maybe every 3 months,
Yeah, quarterly.
quarterly. I don't know if that's reasonable. I see the wheels turning. So
I think I'm wondering like specifically what type of attainment, because when you talk about a standardized, what type of data specifically, because we are rich with data, right? We have lots of different numbers. So I guess it would be helpful if there were specific things like whether it's credit attainment, grade distribution,
Secondary credits,
Yep.
grades, dropouts.
Okay, so if that would be helpful, I think a good guidance for us, but I think maybe what I'm hearing you say is a good first step for it would be for us to get together and say what can be
I
standardized.
think so.
Exactly.
And then you can look at the list and say,
Exactly.
okay, we want these ones or we want
Right.
all of them,
Yep.
If it's something that's a pain to get, then why would you put that as a standard monthly thing? But if it's something that's a quick,
Yeah, and I think Corey and I can definitely sit down and say, okay, what data do we have and what can we do that would be easy for both of us to understand? And Denise and I run on the same PBIS kind of
Yep.
referral process as well, and I think they have a referral process as well. So we could look at what could be standardized and then provide you a list for next meeting, so you can pick what you'd like, and then we'll start providing that.
I think that'd be super cool. I read them, and there's just nuances in all of them which are valuable, but it would be nice if we had one form. So and also as when people ask me at these trainings about our stuff, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to look that up. I don't know. But so if it's regular and coming to me all the time, it's gonna find a place in the filing system up here.
Great.
That was my thought.
Yeah, we'll figure out what we can standardize.
Thank you. And yeah, you tell us. Let's see, where are we? At USAA, Jim's not here, but provided a report. So it looks like things are going along there.
Yeah, good turnout again.
Yep, yeah. Carmen, got some more money, huh?
A good job.
Yes. Yep, we were approved for the fresh fruit and vegetable grant again for the Timberline Elementary and Orofino Elementary Schools.
That's awesome.
It is.
And then, you had an increase in families utilizing the summer food pantry?
Yes, we did. It was actually at 35 families, that came. There was, one here, then didn't come up, the rest summer, but 35 families utilized it for most of the summer, which is almost 10 families more than last summer.
And, yeah, and that food pantry, funding comes from,
Idaho Food Bank and then donations from the
Donations.
community.
right, yeah, so it's not something that the school
No.
is providing us, yep, on top of that, but, we do manage that facility, so that's super, super cool. Okay.
And then if you noticed in there, the Idaho State Department is working with the health and welfare, and they're now connected, not just our direct certification for those on food stamps and taffy, but now they're connected with Medicaid. So the majority of Medicaid students will now qualify for free or reduced meals,
Do they
where
still,
before they did not.
do they still have to fill out the form?
No.
Which is nice. And that, I was gonna ask about that form because it's, that is a state form. There's no way to,
The federal form,
for
isn't it?
federal form.
Yeah.
I just went through it as a parent and then had some other people that are obviously, they don't even, their pay is way above that, but they're still trying to get them to fill out the form. And they're like trying to understand where that comes in. So I don't know if there's a way we can make that number that people know, so it's right in your face. I'm below this amount, I need to fill out the form. Instead of trying to get a bunch of people everybody to fill it out, that we're just gonna, I don't know what we do with those forms that don't qualify anyways.
They get a letter and then I let them know if their income is over.
Yeah,
But if they know they're well over, we can't make them fill out a form.
right.
And if they're over and they don't fill it out, that's great, because then it saves me time on
That's
my
what I
end from
need.
having to process
And
it.
so that's where we were at. It was just me personally was like, you have to fill out the form. And I'm like, well, I know that we're over it because I'm on the school board and I know what the numbers are. And we've been talking about this
So
form
you
for
don't
3
have
years.
to fill out the form.
But they
is
were,
the way
but it was kind of like one of those required forms.
Because every year we have families says, oh, I didn't think I qualified, and you fill it out
Right.
and they did.
No, for sure. So that's, maybe we can be clear with that.
And it's 150% of poverty, right? It's the same, it mirrors E-rate, I
I'm
think.
not sure, but what they did tell us, the State Department said Medicaid, those income guidelines for Medicaid are different than the guidelines for our free.
Oh,
And
geez.
so if they hit as a reduced Medicaid, they should go ahead and fill out the lunch app, because it might actually go to free, because our guidelines are different.
So the parent night, like what Denise is having, is that when we relay that information?
And the registration
And
and stuff.
registration.
I'm just saying,
Those lunch apps go out all during that registration packets.
I'm just wondering if we could somehow make it
We-
clearer.
we
We
could.
have to use the forms, I get that, but the bullet points for families to kind of have that ballpark to once again save you from a bunch of people putting in that aren't gonna qualify.
So what's published in the newspaper actually has the income guidelines and what you can and cannot,
Yep,
the
yep.
thresholds. It could be printed and attached
Put right
with
with
the
it.
lunch app.
Could we put it out through Skyward in our communication to families?
We can.
It might be because the online form. Because they can fill the application out through Skyward, and it'll tell you when you go down through there. I think it gets to a point and says you're over. Is that right?
I mean, that data is in Skyward. So
Right.
I don't know why it wouldn't be presented. The income guidelines are all there.
And I've had one family fill out the online application.
But because I don't think they knew, because my
It-
family
it
would have,
kind
we
of
would have filled it
depends,
out. I promise my wife would rather do that than show up and do all the forms. So, but this is where that, if we can somehow make it easier on our people, we might get better success and
Mhm.
moving
Right.
forward. We've been talking about this form since I got on.
Well, that whole program, I
Oh
mean,
my
it,
gosh.
it opens up other opportunities.
does.
That's very helpful to us.
And
It wouldn't take very many and we would pop back into a 80% reimbursement instead of 70%.
exactly.
Yeah.
For technology. and
So
your
is there a way, if it's in Skyward, where we could have a mass sent out to all the people that we think are qualified based on what's in Skyward?
It has, you can't pick and choose because then you get into civil rights. So it's gotta be everybody.
Okay.
You know, everyone has have the same opportunity.
Yep.
You give
It's-
everybody a form, they can or they can't fill it out
Yep.
depending on them. And we found out some people are overwhelmed with the form, even though they qualify and they do
Right.
not want to sit down and even.
Exactly.
it.
So that's that whole process. How do we, maybe it's just like you said, some of these simple bullet points, so it's easier for people and then they can understand.
Well, and that goes back to some of those community partners that we were
Mhm.
talking about, that the families may be working with social service organizations or the community action partnership folks, and they
Yep.
may be able to help interpret that form. Don't know. But
It's
that-
real money to our district. So what, I'm
It's
just
very
trying to
helpful.
figure out a
Mhm.
way to make it simpler
Agreed.
for
Yeah.
everyone.
And the money not only is covering the food piece for folks that may not pay their bill.
Yep.
That we have chosen to eat, no pun intended. But also through the FCC program, it directly relates to our E-rate offset. And so, as Russell said, we could easily get up into that 80% category. What that means is that 80% of our internet cost for the school facilities is covered by the FCC. And so we get
Instead of
the
70,
service at the price, at a 20% rate to us
And it's part
and
of
other
it as well.
programs.
And it's
Mhm,
not
right.
just district libraries use that same data.
Yep,
They
right.
use our data for library funding.
Right,
Yep,
yeah, so
yep.
there are benefits, and I don't think it's tied to rural healthcare, but
So Chris, Jason was able to access the application through Skyward as a parent. It's in family access and it does list the income chart.
Oh, okay.
It is
Awesome.
part of the
Yeah,
online
everybody
application.
Actually has access to it.
so.
But we could send it out, make it much,
So-
it's hard to find.
Yes.
So maybe
let's
a-
try to simplify some of this.
Yeah, maybe a little message
help.
saying, here it is, help
Help
us.
them on opening day with so many people standing, waiting. At least Orofino, there was lines outside at
Awesome.
registration. If they could do it online, then maybe it cuts that down too.
And Russell does have training on where to find that. Then you do a screenshot on us, give me steps to find that.
Awesome.
I think we have it.
We can do that again and we can send it out as Skyrim message to everybody, very specifically where we're going.
I think that'd be huge. And if you're in these guidelines, please go fill out the forms or come by the school and fill out the forms, because there's just so much money that's costing us and we're leaving on the table
Help us help you.
on a tight budget
Stop.
here.
Irritating people that don't need to fill it out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. And so speaking of technology and FCC E-rate, Russell, you want to give some highlights?
Like something that's in my work for.
Just highlights for the public. Yeah.
Well, we're kind of, at this point, we're in between implementing things that we asked for last year. So like our switches have been delivered. I got to get them into the buildings. They came in about a week ago. So this isn't the time to do that right now. But we'll get those in place probably on some Fridays, when the network usage is down. And so those will be new switches for Cavendish, Peck, the shop at Orofino Elementary, or Orofino High School, and then also at the elementary here and here. So it's replacing the switches that are running our Wi-Fi. So the switches have kind of come to end of life, and we're kind of working on replacing those. Yeah, so at this point in E-rate, we're just looking forward to kind of making our wish list. I actually run a document every year. That's my wish list for the year. And I fill that out through the year as we're going through a year. And then when it comes E-rate season, which, we start making requests, December, January. And then, so just kind of look around and see what things are eligible and get that list built. So yeah, we're doing that. I'm doing that year round. And at this point, we're just, getting hardware from last year and making sure that we're getting it invoiced and everything's taken care of.
And all the server updates went smoothly.
Oh, we're still on server updates, but yeah, everything's going well. James has been pretty much just, that's been his mode of operation, is like, here, we're, in fact, we were just chatting today. It's like, well, what's the next thing? And it's like, well, the next thing is setting up a new server for here. It's not gonna be a new server, but a new server for this location, actually one of our old servers. But it'll have the capacity to do a lot more load distribution if we should need to. So we could run loads here in this building. If there was some sort of disaster, you could offload to this building and be offsite and still serve the district from this location. And that's part of, what we've done over the years, the fiber connection to here. We have a 10 gig connection between here and Orofino now. So it doesn't really matter if the server's running at Timberline or if it's running at Orofino. It's like being, sitting next to it.
Nice.
That's kind of it.
Awesome. Thank you.
We're going to be coming up on, as far as E-rate goes, in the next couple of years, we'll be looking at Wi-Fi replacement across the district again. It'll already be, our 5 years will be up, and it'll be time to be thinking about that. But it's never a dull moment with E-rate. You're never out of E-rate.
Great. Well, it's a good program. Thank
Starting a
you.
year fully staffed. That's the first time in a while, right?
Yeah, that it is. And it's because James has been working on stuff that's kind of like, it's back closet stuff, and we haven't trained him in, he's not the face out in front, but all that stuff to be offloaded off of my plate has been great.
Awesome.
So,
Nice.
I did the install on like the displays that we put in the classrooms, and it's great to actually get out and do some stuff like that. And then have more conversations like I used to with staff about like, or just observe what's going on in their classroom and what systems they're using, and look for ways to improve those or help that. So I'm really excited to get back into that role and maybe take off the firefighter hat just a little bit every once in a while and get into that development hat. And that's really where we've been short.
Yeah.
Because when you're short staffed, you just fight fire.
Yeah, I agree.
Awesome.
You're here.
Thank you. Thank you. Derek. Find more drivers. Find more drivers. Yeah.
The
That's-
only hot item has been the Cavendish school, other than drivers, which we've talked about every month for 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah, we're going in short again. So that's 4 routes we've it's absorbed. And we've absorbed 3, and now we literally can't absorb. We're cutting. And this was an absorption in a sense. It just did affect more people this time. It is still an absorption, but it does have a little bigger effect. So
You said you have talked to all the families that were affected.
I did. One hasn't called me back, but I did actually personally had conversation with every single one of the families that were affected with that. The biggest effect really is the students that live in Orofino and ride a bus to go to school in Cavendish. That's the effect. In Cavendish itself, in fact, we cleaned up some things on the route up there. We have 1 high school kid left in Cavendish to transport to Orofino.
Oh, wow.
Everyone else transferred out to Kendrick and other things. So we have 1 left up there. We have, and I tried to outline that a little bit in the board report, but Idaho Code 33-1501 says that we don't transport anyone that lives within 1.5 miles of the school, unless you determine in health and safety and that kind of stuff. And that falls into what's called safety busing, which you have to approve tonight. Safety busing has to meet a metric to qualify for state safety busing. That metric is a tool, a form the state has that I go sit and count cars, and we look at sidewalk widths, and we look at speed limits, and we come up with a score. And so like Orofino Elementary has a score of in the 80s to 90s, because there's 800 cars an hour and there's 200 trucks an hour. There's no lighted crosswalks. There's, we take all that together. And so we do have safety buses in some areas, but Cavendish, we had a situation too where of the 4 families that we transported in Cavendish to Cavendish school, 3 of those were safety busing, but we didn't qualify for safety busing there because we don't have traffic count. We don't have speed. We don't have all of the things that we have to qualify. We have to have a score over 50 to qualify, and we don't have that score. So that left 1 family up there that actually qualifies for transportation to the school. That's in the Cavendish area. So we understand it's an impact. It did, was a productive conversation, I felt like, with every parent. So
I think with the city of Orofino's interest in safe routes to schools, and the safe walking and outdoor, it might be worthwhile to communicate with them the data that you have captured. That data could help them in securing transportation alternative program funds to support whatever safety enhancements could
It
be needed.
does, and you take the Orofino and you add those safety enhancements, so we no longer qualify for safety busing. Then we basically say everybody that lives within 1.5 miles of school now has to walk to school, and we don't get funding for it. So that could be a double-edged sword.
So I know a couple years ago, we kind of went back to the drawing board on bus drivers, started looking at the market again. I wonder if it's not time to do that again. As competitive as I think we are, we're not competitive again. We go up, they go up, they go up, we go up, we go up, they go up. We're not attracting people. I don't know why. Maybe it's not just pay, but we're not attracting anybody to apply for these jobs. So I think we need to figure out how to.
We had a really good talk
do
with the
this.
counselor on this, didn't we, at District Day? A lot of bus drivers don't want to deal with the kids.
I don't want to deal with the kids.
And it's not.
I got 7.
But they like driving, but they have crappy kids on the buses. So we talked to the counselor about how do we
We
incentivize.
talked about some ideas, like maybe a competition amongst buses for good behavior and coming up with something cool to incentivize them to be the most behaved bus, well-behaved bus. And she talked about some,
Like a little box, like a phone booth he's in.
Derek
You
gave us
can't
some
hear
examples that
anything,
were
'cause there's no way
pretty
down
sad.
And you know, it's not that they,
On camera.
it's that you put yourself in your car with 2 kids in the back seat who are screaming and you're trying to drive in town. And, it's like, oh my gosh, will you shut up? But you put that with 40 kids
Mhm.
and you're driving, and you're by yourself. And they're arguing and it becomes like, okay, this driver is managing so much. You're like, I'm not doing that. And I think that's probably one of the things that hurts the most with recruiting drivers is that's responsibility for what they have to do.
Well, and even I was thinking ever since we talked on that, I'm not a big policy guy and we have lots of policies. But if you can run your music on a bus and the bus driver can't tell you to shut it off. And I've been on some athletic bus where they were playing some loud music. And as a coach, I've told them the bus driver seemed fine, but I'm like, turn it down, turn it down. So is there, like with the cell phone policy, I know that was painful, but it made things better for most schools. Is there something we could do to help make the bus drivers day a little better? Eliminate
There's
things like,
something. If you apply for a school bus driver, you're gonna have kids.
but it's
So-
not kids, Brian, it's kids cussing bus drivers out.
I'm
It's
saying we're
playing-
missing
playing a
something.
loud boom box and the bus driver asks them to turn it down and they're not. So can we
Kick
get,
them off the bus.
And the
Yeah.
missing something though is every district in every state across the entire nation. It's the missing something. We have a nationwide bus driver shortage.
Yeah.
Sure,
It's
sure.
not just here, we go to state meetings in Boise and they raise, well, how many of your transportation directors and you're also bus drivers, and everyone on the raises a hand because we have no drivers. How many secretaries in here are bus drivers that everyone raises their hand
Yeah.
because we have no drivers, and it's a state thing. It's not here specifically. It is everywhere. It is across the nation. Tiny bus drivers.
We do have to maintain a focus on holding students accountable.
Get them off the
And-
bus.
And that is a big part of the problem. Obviously, we have lots of great students and families,
Absolutely.
but we have to work on that together because it takes the transportation director, the building principal, the school board at times,
absolutely.
to follow through with that accountability, because it's the same problem in classrooms, and it's why we have a teacher shortage and every
Yep.
other position as well. It's difficult. So that's something that we can
I
work on
do it, but I
together.
drive too slow. It's embarrassing how slow your kids would be late to school every day, I promise.
Maybe you could be the.
And I'm just gonna go, I'm
resource
sorry,
officer.
I don't speed. I go 5 to 10 below. Ask Orofino PD, I've been pulled over 9 times for going too slow.
so I know Sam doesn't watch the school board meetings, so I'm safe to say this. Just wait till you're 70.
Well, my wife would tell me to drive like that now.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I I think maybe let's take a look at our policy around behavior and see if there's a way that we can tighten it. We have an existing policy around
do.
acceptable behavior. Maybe there's a way we can tighten it. Um,
And then like what we were talking about the counselor, is there a
Mhm.
way to incentivize the best route of the year and something at the end of the year? And I'll tell you, as a parent, I'm one of the ones that are within that 1.5 miles, but it is so nice to have a bus ride for the kids home.
Yeah,
You already have to mess
I
up your
appreciate
schedule in
it.
the morning to get them to school. And then one of the parents has to leave work early to get them home,
So-
you know?
And why doesn't, it doesn't have to be for the year. Why can't we do this on a
Monthly basis.
well,
Right.
that's what I was thinking more of, like a, bus of the month, you know?
Yeah, I mean, let's get, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, Derek. I
Well, because
just,
Chris brought up a good point.
wanna
so-
help.
But then we have to go out and get, what are we gonna do for that incentive? What matters to kids? That would be cool, you know, that we could come up with a campaign of
Get
go
to
out
ride
begging
next
for
month.
stuff, you know?
You get to ride
You
next
You get to
Maybe
be
we'll-
here,
also-
right?
I know I got in trouble on a bus at a young age and I never got in trouble on a bus again. So I got taken care of it at home, but that's not happening now. So we need to figure out how do we, it was on your dad's bus and my dad took it out on me and it was done, but that's not happening. So we need to find a way
Yeah.
to make this better. So maybe more people would be incentivized to drive a bus if they don't have to deal, like you were talking about truck drivers, truck drivers. The rates have went way down. The bills have cut their rates way back. And so some of these truck drivers, log truck drivers and stuff are on the fence. They're not making as much money as they used to. So,
Or maybe they wanna semi-retire and have a
Yeah.
little bit more flexibility.
yeah.
And so we did, we advertised, saw the bus at the school.
Yeah.
We purchased radio advertising.
Yeah.
If you saw the front page of the paper,
Yeah.
there was an article there that they put together, and then they did a community spotlight for us as well at the radio station, trying to get that word out. And all of that put together, I haven't had anything come from that at this point. The one we did hire moved here from elsewhere. And in fact, really the last 3 route drivers we've hired in the last few years have all moved here from elsewhere and said, hey, I drove bus there, I want to drive bus here.
bless her hearts.
So
Yeah.
So yeah, we need to keep talking on this because we know it's nationwide, but this is our district. So
Well,
spread
not,
out. and
it's terrible
huge.
when we're telling a community we can't bus you,
Agree.
and to your point, that's not what we want.
No.
But we can't make people drive.
No.
and we are our number one priority. We have a bus route that last year was, if everybody rode that's on that route was over capacity. We hit that within 2 students on one day where we were at capacity of the bus, 2 more students, someone had to stay at school. And we've added 6 to 8 kids this year to that route. And so, we are dealing with overcrowding
Mhm.
because of our absorptions
Sure.
that we are trying to figure out how do we deal with this right now. And,
Right.
we have the alternative of, okay, well, we can, if you live in this side, or if you get on the bus a half hour earlier than these guys, because we have to run double routes. How do we put kids at school for 30 minutes extra and hire staff to babysit those while we go take another route?
Right.
Those are the options that we have left. It's like, okay, well, we can't hire staff to do that at schools either because we're short paras, we're short this, or we're short that. And so we keep coming around, like round and around, like, okay, how do we get these kids to school in the short? And we're just keep tightening and tightening and tightening. And what we deal with, we talked about, the discipline, and, Beck and I know we've talked about this tons. We go to discipline and we go put them off the bus and, okay, well, they're not coming to school for the next week now because they can't get there.
Right.
We can't get them to school. They can't get to school. So now they're just not in school. And we battle that so much. We have to make so many decisions around the discipline based on the fact that if we kick them off the bus, they're out of school. And then we go back to our attendance policy
Sure.
problem because we've now caused an attendance policy issue because they're not in school and we want them in school.
Yeah.
We keep them on the bus to keep them in school.
Sure.
And so it just, there's so many layers, what I'm saying to that. It sounds so simple to kick them off, but then there's so many layers that comes underneath that,
Right.
that
So
we
is-
battle.
So is it possible, instead of kicking them off the bus, requiring some sort
Okay.
of in-school?
We've been working together on that a
Change.
lot with and we've worked up here with it, worked down there. Okay, let's do in-school suspensions. Let's do in-school things. And we have been working on that a lot in the last few years and changing how we try to think about the discipline. Like, okay, well, okay, you can't go to school, but guess what? Now you're gonna have in-school suspension or you're gonna,
Right.
that kind of stuff.
Because someone would rather
And
just not
then
go to school.
maybe match something like that, a consequence with that reward system for being a good bus.
Yep. Yeah. Keep thinking and talking about it, so it's not gonna get any better.
And you also will see on the action items, and so we can just tell you what I got with that now, but you do have those sent to you, because they are confidential, the bus routes. We don't, security and safety, we don't publish every complete bus route. So you do have those to approve. Idaho code says they have to be approved in the August regular meeting, as well as the non-transportation zones. And then our safety busing areas also have to be approved, so we can get that reimbursement back in those areas that we do qualify within the 1.5 miles of the school.
Eric also did his pre-service 3-hour training this morning with all the bus drivers and subs. I participated in that and he did a really nice job. It's a good atmosphere. You know, the bus drivers were positive and, you know, it was fun. And he, like I said, he did a really nice job. So
Awesome.
that's the first requirement of lots of training he has to do, but
Awesome.
The bus drivers you have are been excellent. And I was impressed with the years of service there too, when they were standing up. You have some long-term bus drivers. We just got to get them in.
We have some very long-term bus drivers.
It
Been
was
there a
really cool
long
to see.
time.
I
Yep.
wonder if they have ideas for us.
They're always trying to get their friends to come drive. Yeah, they are. Yep.
Thank you.
Because it hurts them. They can't take off sick. They
Yeah.
can't call in. They're
Right.
coming in sicker than a dog because there's no one to cover for them. They know it.
Yeah.
And so it affects them. Definitely really affects them when we're short. So.
Thanks, Derek.
Appreciate you.
Cody, did you have any highlights or special needs? We don't have a report. We don't have a report, but.
One exciting thing that we were able to do this year that we hadn't been able to do in the past is we've got about 40 people that went to right response training today and tomorrow. Right response is kind of like our de-escalation behavior, like how to respond when kids misbehave or the situation might be getting out of control. So mostly parapros right now. We're going to have to do one more round of training with certified sped staff, but this helps us get up to date with our current policy and with state law. So, and gives our staff some nice tools in their toolbox to help with those challenging situations.
Is Jessica involved in that? Is that what she said? Right response?
Mhm.
Was,
Yep,
okay.
she was a big
okay,
part of it. Yeah.
Yep, Jessica Wickard and Mark Mosier are our staff trainers, and
Awesome.
they went to Washington to get trained, Mark a while back, and then we added Jessica last year, and we have enough capacity now in the district to train the people that we need to train with our own people. So train the trainer model.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Saves us lots of money. You guys know about the transition, and SPED had that late resignation up here, had to make a shuffle, which obviously makes the caseloads higher at Orofino High School. The guard school caseloads are fairly high, and so is the one here at Timberline. So we're asking people to do a lot in those places. The elementaries appropriately staffed, I would say. But we got some work to do. We still have the advertisement out. We opened it up as a district position location to be determined.
Nice.
So see if we get more action that way, but that's where we set.
Thank you. Okay. Jason, any highlights you want to bring to attention in your report?
did you see the PLC information in there?
yeah.
Okay. I wanted to give you some of that. I'll have the principals next month, but I wanted to give you at least
Yeah, it was very cool. Kind of
components to
a
it.
preface. Mhm.
The superintendent training, I could talk about a little bit. That was pretty well done by the State Department of Education. A lot of it was kind of a who's who at the state, as well as the, you know, the sister organizations. Made some connections there, and of course ran into Carl Crabtree and had a long conversation.
Yeah.
But that was fun.
Yep. His mother was one of my teachers many, many years ago. You know about the SRO grant. I put that proprietary insurance fund utilization in my report. That'll be an action item later in the meeting. Our accountant, wants a board approved, we're gonna move X amount of dollars, to meet that, shortfall, and that's where I why I put it here, excuse me. It shows you,
Oh, excuse me,
Go
do
ahead.
we know whether there were more folks at District Day that visited with Farah about how that reimbursement program works?
yeah, 100% of them, because we said it, we
Oh.
put that into one session and then rotated everybody through.
Oh,
the
excellent.
session.
How did you, hey,
Excellent.
good job.
Thank you.
So, and I
That
sat
really
through-
needed to happen.
You saw in my recognitions are a lot of our staff, Carmen, Russell, Casey, Bear and Brittany helped with that, but those three ran sessions. I sent out a survey to collect feedback, and I was hoping to present that at tonight's meeting, but I think I have probably up to 80 some responses out of a couple hundred, so I'd like to have a larger response, but overwhelmingly it was very positive. They really appreciated those sessions, as well as the speaker that we brought in. He was phenomenal. I was really hoping for something that would kind of unify people, inspire, and then have the humor. Brittany suggested Paul. She'd seen him, and that was a big hit. So many people have said the best one in many years. So that was pretty cool. But like I said, when I get that all that data back, I'll present that. And then if you click on the agenda link under number 10 on the district day, that shows the whole plan of everything that we did there.
And thank you for putting the dates in. I've actually added those now to my calendar,
Okay.
my life calendar, so I appreciate that.
On the
The ISBA
Yeah,
annual
okay.
conference. Awesome. Okay,
yeah, I just saw that email today. So
I appreciated the date headline when I saw it last night. Oh, get that on my block those days out.
other than that, it'd just be general. I've been in all the main buildings. People are working hard and, good attitudes, and, everybody's getting after it. So excited for kids.
Cool. Good. Okay, so I think with that, we'll move into our discussion items. And the first thing on our discussion items is candidate interviews. Ladies. I was interviewed. With another. This is a very odd process. It's uncomfortable. We're gonna ask you questions. And I think the way that is we'll ask one question and have both answer, and then alternate. Jason had a good idea of alternating, so one person's not always on the spot and the other one gets to feed off of what the other person said, So that's the format. I've been there, so I know it's really kind of a funky process, but the process is what it is. So if you could both join us at this table, we have separate microphones for you. Would you like a water? Do you have water?
We can't put their name on here.
We can. This is just for us.
Okay, that's something about Canada Day, Canada.
Nope.
That's a big deal. Just to keep them straight, right?
Yes.
Yeah, just to keep them straight. So we have Brittany on the left, right, and we have Taylor on the right to us. Yeah, and they have both provided a letter of intent and interest to participating as a Zone 3 candidate. And I tell you, I appreciate that you both are willing to sit here. It's a volunteer gig that consumes way more time than what I originally anticipated, but it's also super cool because you get to work with these really smart folks.
Out there, not here.
Smart folks, yeah. I don't care who fires away the first question. We'll just let her roll and we'll just go down the order.
We know who's going first.
I'll do it.
Flipping a
So-
coin, or you just going after him?
Question number one is, I'm gonna let you pick a number between 1 and 10. Whoever gets closest to the number in my head, go.
I'll go first. I don't care.
Atta girl. All right, Brittany, you're up first. Why are you interested in becoming a trustee?
Well, I grew up at Timberland, so I firsthand know the district. I know the education and the values that it provides. And I want to give back. I have kids that are entering the district soon, so I'm personally invested in making sure that our school thrives. I've spent the majority of my career focused in healthcare and bringing new services to the community. And so with my kids entering the district, I want to shift that to education.
I think for me, I have a strong commitment to the community. I've lived here all my life. My husband graduated from Timberline. I graduated from Orofino. We're raising 3 kids who are all in the school. We have a 7th grader and a 6th grader and a 4th grader. They've gone to school here also. I have family that was graduates. I think that my past involvement in previous boards in the community, my current involvement on boards within the community. I'm on the Planning and Zoning Commission, and I've served on statewide boards. And I think that knowledge helps me to give back to the community. I think that I really want, I've seen a lot of positive progress within the district. I want to help the district continue with the clear vision that they have and creating a positive culture of, I know that the board can't control all of that, but definitely has a way of setting the tone for the district. And I want to help influence that and continue on the positive steps that have already been made.
Next. Okay, so we'll let you go first, Taylor. Describe any past experience you've had with governance and or organizational leadership. Kind of did that already.
Yeah, so I'm currently on the Planning and Zoning Commission in the community. I've also served on several nonprofit organization boards. I have been on statewide boards and then multiple committees. I, in my current role, manage several different projects. And so implementation, working on several different committees that maybe aren't formal, but they definitely have that policy focus, ensuring that we're in compliance, helping develop processes, providing the framework for which we can operate under. And so I think that not only in serving formally on boards, but also just serving on committees and working on a team to develop different policies and look at budget and make sure that we're staying within budget is all part of the boards that I've been on. I've served as treasurer and I've served as board director as well for different boards that I've been on in the past.
Can you repeat the question? No, I'm good. So I'm radiology manager at Clearwater Valley Hospital. So I have a strong background in leadership and collaboration, making informed decisions. So my, what I do there is I manage people and budgets, strategic planning. I make a plan for our department and multiple other departments yearly. So with budgeting and managing our policies. I'm also on the advisory board for LCSE for the radiology program. So I'm used to working with students and helping with guidance in that way. And then just the main thing I want to bring to the board is you guys talk a lot about strategic planning and setting goals and being able to achieve them. I think that's my strong suit. That's what I do every day. So you got to be able to set your goals, track progress, and then allocate your resources accordingly. So that's what I do and what I think I can bring to the board.
Okay, Brittany, what do you see as the primary work of the board?
The primary work. I see you guys, all of you, as kind of being the voice of the community. I mean, you all take into consideration what benefits the community as a whole. It's just bringing kind of the state and what's regulation and bringing it down to a district level and being able to apply that.
Taylor?
I think the main roles of the board is first to support. So you're supporting the people that you represent, you're supporting the educators, you're supporting the staff, you're supporting the district leadership. You do that through setting policies, the guidelines. I think that the board's role is to set a structure and a foundation that allows each school within our district, each teacher, each leader within the buildings to operate independently. They get to make decisions that is best, but we set the policy, the group sets the policies and the framework for which they can operate under. The board, I think, provides the resources. They listen to the educators, provide what they can, help where they can to make sure that we can try to fill their needs, whatever those resources might be, by looking at budget, setting the budget. The board has to look at the state statutes, the laws, the policies, and interpret those to make sure that then down at the district level, we're in line with those, while also balancing the needs of the district and the needs of the educators within the district and what is best for the community as a whole. So I think that it really comes down to providing that support. Policy and budget are the main drivers of what the board is tasked with.
How would you foster a collaborative and supportive environment amongst board members to ensure effective decision-making?
So I think everyone communicates differently, and understanding how each person communicates. There is, I work on a lot of teams, and if you don't understand how somebody's communication style, you can take offense when that's just their communication style. They don't mean anything personal by it. And so taking the time to get to know the board members, get to know how they, communication, I think is important. I think that it's important for everyone on the board if they have common goals and figure out what the common goals are. What are we working towards? And keeping that in mind, everyone might have a different opinion on how to get to the goal, but I think that the board in general has what they believe is the best interest. And always circling back to that is that we have a common goal, just how we get there might look a little different. And so I think that being on a committee or working as a team and a board is all about our communication, is about making sure people are informed. If we're hearing things in the community, that we're sharing that. We're not withholding information from the other board members. We're transparent with each other. We're able to be honest, and that way we can work together towards those common goals that we have.
I think it's really important when you're working with a group of board members to each person in that discussion feels heard, that you put real thought and you make them feel like you understand, because all of us come from different careers, different backgrounds. So all of our perspectives are going to be different. So it's really important to take the time to understand that perspective and to work together, because we're all here to benefit the community. That's our end goal. So we all have the same end goal. And the way we get there, we just need to work together with different learning styles, different working styles, and do that because we have the same purpose. That's why we're here. Yeah, it's really important to understand each other, have an open mind. Yeah, hear other people's point of views and just be open with other opinions.
It's your turn.
Slow runner.
Thank you.
Describe your strategies for building strong relationships with parents, teachers, and the community to support student success.
Show up. You gotta be there and you have to engage with parents. I mean, a lot of parents, they don't know who I am. I don't have kids in the district yet. So it's important for me to go to these events, engage with parents and learn from other students, other parents, other board members' experiences so that I can bring that back and help make impactful decisions on this board. You just gotta be in the community and put yourself out there, which I have a little bit, but young kids, and I just haven't had the opportunity yet. So, yeah.
The I think that the biggest way is listening. Sometimes there's a concern that somebody might have and they just want to be heard. They want to know that they are heard and that whatever they're saying is not being ignored. And I think that the biggest way that you can create a relationship with people is listening to them and being open to what they're saying, being open to changing your mind if something that they say is a little bit different than maybe the way that you thought. Doing research. If somebody says something, gives you information, following up on that. If somebody reports something to you and then you never follow up with them, they don't feel heard. They don't feel listened to. So I think following up with people, if they come to me with something, I think that the way that they're going to know that I've heard them is that there's follow up. They hear that that's discussed. They see action on it, and not starting with no with them in mind, right? Like everything that they come to us with might not be a yes, but knowing that we did the research, we looked into it, that there was at least an effort to see if what they were saying was something that could be accomplished. And I think that if they're coming to you about student success, especially, they probably have their best interest of their student in mind. So looking at ways that could benefit the whole district, and it might not be exactly what they're bringing to you, but is there a piece of that you could implement, a way that you could make that work? I think that if you can't and follow up with the person, they're going to respect that and give them the why. Why couldn't we do whatever they're asking? And I think that even if they might not like the answer, they can at least respect that it couldn't happen.
How would you prioritize the educational welfare of students in your decision-making process, balancing the need of all students?
I think that's something that the board has to balance a lot. I think balance, when I think about the school board, there's a lot of balance. You have to balance the stakeholders, you have to balance the students, you have to balance the people that you're representing within the community. And ultimately, sometimes that means making tough decisions, because some decisions not everyone's going to like every decision that you make. That's why there's policies. There's policies that provide that structure and that framework. And are they the step-by-step guide to give you the exact answer for every scenario that comes up? No, of course not. But it gives you the framework with what we can operate within. And keeping in mind that we have an entire district that's spread out, and each building, each area is unique, has its own unique needs. And so have to consider the big picture when we are considering decisions, and make sure that we're operating within our policies and that we're supporting not only the students, but the educators and taking their feedback. They're the ones with the boots on the ground. They know, the day in, the day out. And so relying on that expert opinion to get information and do research, be diligent about digging in when you don't know something, to make sure that you're making the best decision that benefits the district.
So your purpose as a board member is to advocate for all students, regardless of background or need, and to keep the community's best interests in mind. So you might not be able to accommodate everybody, but in whole, it's what's best for the community. And being able to communicate that well while within our guidelines and policies, and explaining to parents or staff or whoever is questioning those policies, showing your research that you've read the policies, you understand them, and then relaying that to them if they don't. Just showing that you're educated in the questions that they're asking shows that you care about the community, and then also probably makes them feel heard. That's really the big point. Most people I feel most people, if they're bringing you a concern, it's very personal to them. So you need to take that time and hear them, and then do your research and follow up.
I have one more, if I may.
bet.
Afford.
We can put her on the back.
Time. So we all are full-time, but well, almost all of us. I'm adding one if that's
100%.
okay. Can I add one about
Yeah.
time? Do you feel that you have adequate time in your life to be an engaged board member? And we meet once a month. If a crisis pops up, we could meet 3 times a month. And I had no idea of that. And so I asked this question and described my personal experience. We do have, we allow Zoom, you know, there was a quorum issue, but do you feel that you have the time?
I'm used to managing multiple responsibilities on multiple different boards. Family is a priority, so I want to make sure that I'm always present for them, but I also will make sure that I'm fitting my obligations to the board inside that and being able to serve effectively.
Yeah, I think I definitely have time. When something's important and being on the board is important to me, then it becomes a priority, and making time in my schedule is easy when something's important. And I think that the work that the board does is a thankless job. And so the hours are probably endless and tireless because a lot of people don't realize the amount of hours that go into being a board member. And that it's not just you show up, you know, at the meeting each month and that's it. You don't have to think about it again till the next meeting. I mean, I realize that it's a lot more than that, and that people, they see you out in the community, or they're might bring up concerns to you. They might be calling you. And I think that that's a responsibility that I know going into submitting my letter was something that I was willing to take on, and that I have time in my schedule to manage.
Anybody else feel a need to add a question?
No, I just thank you both for doing
thank
this
you.
and putting in, because a couple months ago we had nobody and now we have 2. So this is amazing. So
That's really
super
awesome.
exciting.
So process wise, we have a couple more discussion items. We'll go into an executive session, and then we'll come out with action items, and the appointment will be part of that.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions for us? Is there anything we can answer
Question
for
number
you?
8, yeah.
Thank you for that.
That's a great one.
Not necessarily a question, but just a statement.
Closing comment, by all means.
You know, I do work full time and I have small children, but I have a very flexible work schedule. So coming and going from meetings, and that's my normal, like I'm used to the on-call life. I'm readily available to all of my staff at all hours of the night. So it would be no different to a board meeting or a concern from anybody from the staff. So with cell phones now, I mean, you can't not look at your text and answer. So
Right.
time commitment is not a concern.
Excellent. We appreciate you putting in. Taylor, you got anything? Okay, thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Thanks, Elise.
It's okay. We just.
It was weird, huh?
There. It wasn't fun talking in front of public either, in the public hearing when you have to apply to be a board member.
Yeah.
I just couldn't imagine Jesse doing that.
I did it. I had one guy running against me, so I had to
Been
beat him
rough.
out.
Oh, yeah, but you didn't have to do this. Right?
There's like 10 people here. This is easy.
Oh.
There was like 100 and some people at the Orofino school, and there was and they were asking candidates.
Yeah, I remember that. It was
Remember
fun.
that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Right on.
And there was a bunch of, what was it? There was something going on that was really big. So everyone was asking us about it. Remember?
Oh, yeah, I was the bad guy
Yeah.
in their minds. I'm a really good dude though.
Radical something.
Oh,
theory,
yeah,
Radical theory. I did not know what it was. And I had 5 people ask me my opinion on it during that meeting. So I had to learn about that.
CRT.
Yeah.
That's right.
Exactly.
Let's go about it.
Okay.
So we all go through it.
Okay, so the next item for discussion is, we read through the red cells in the tracker. We had a first read, and do we have any more discussion on that?
No, I think
Okay.
I'm good.
Uh,
Other than we're gonna have access to the 2
Yeah.
or all of them.
Gain access. Yeah. The second read of 5600, any concerns, questions about that? The facility plan, Roy's gone, but any more questions there? Okay, proprietary insurance fund, we had that in the superintendent report. That aligns with where we need to go for the finances.
We need to have that dollar
Um,
amount up when we do that.
Um, schedule for work sessions, topics and dates. Did you want some ideas there?
Or what were you, yeah,
So isn't October the continuous improvement plan? So that would be our next one.
or was it, there's a bud?
Isn't the CIP in October?
I think that's where it was. Let me find that document.
I thought October was budget.
September.
September
Oh, September.
CIP and budget's October.
Okay,
Correct? I think that's
Yeah,
what last year.
August, October.
Yeah,
audit, okay.
the audit, sorry.
Carmen's
yeah,
got it all
I don't know why I
pulled
said
up.
Budget, but the audit when the guy.
So we'll have back-to-back work sessions then in a meeting, okay. Alright. So you'll have, after you get going, don't do that.
Somebody yawn.
Yes. Yeah.
They say
Um,
6.
So continuous improvement plan is the
Yep,
next
the
one.
next
And we need to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are there any others that we need other than those?
I think.
So
through
the
then, that's
continuous
September and October.
improvement, and then we have,
Audit in
the
October.
audit in October, and then I think we take a break,
We
don't
do
we?
because of the holidays. We usually took November and December and then we started back.
Pick back up in January.
Yep.
Okay.
That works for everybody.
I won't be here next month.
There's a link too to the bottom of the
September.
agenda that'll show you where it
Okay.
is.
Perfect.
So you can see what's set now.
Okay.
If there's any changes that need to be made, then
We changed the last
Which
month.
one?
Remember, we're going, so.
Scheduled for
where
work
it says
sessions?
regular meeting on the
Yep,
bottom.
you got her.
It's included in that.
So
It's also on the website.
Oh, down there, okay.
Yeah, so we're at Orofino Junior Senior High School Library next month
Yep.
and we have the CIP.
Yep. And we're gonna try to, so we won't be asking Phil to come as part of the work session. We were talking about that board
Yeah.
superintendent training.
Yep.
So I'll reach back out to him. We won't have it the same day. I'll reach back out to him and see what does his travel schedule look like that we might be able to tag in, because he had a regional meeting.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I think we're good through the rest of the year with locations and work sessions.
Did we have any public comment, Carmen?
No public comments.
And we're doing a good job again. No comments.
All right.
We had a lot in the first.
Can I get a motion to enter executive session?
I'll make a motion to enter executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 74-2061 A and B.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Roll call.
Yep.
Roll call.
Trustee Saint Germain.
Yes.
Trustee Daniels.
Yes.
Trustees Kepke.
Yes.
Trustee Craig.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Are we meeting?
Okay, your turn.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we leave executive session.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Roll call?
Oh,
Trustee Saint Germain.
Yes.
Trustee Daniels.
yes.
Trustee Kepke.
Yes.
Trustee Craig.
Yes.
And there are no action items from executive at this time. Okay, our action items, the first one on the agenda is the Zone 3 board member appointment. So I would entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we appoint to the Zone 3 board member Taylor McIntosh.
For a second,
I'll second that.
any discussion?
No discussion?
Uh, I just, the one thing is, I want to make sure that, we're clear around sitting here is not about an agenda about a specific issue or situation. The decisions that we make and the governance role is really around the big picture of education and supporting the superintendent in his ability to direct the leadership team and the leadership team to direct and manage their specific programs.
More discussion?
No more discussion?
Nope.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Is it, do we do aye or do you do a roll call?
We don't do a roll
No,
call, it would be a regular. Everything.
Aye.
Vice President.
Have you voted?
No.
Oh, okay.
Must be last.
I'm still debating.
Okay. Yeah, how about it?
Sorry, I can't make a decision that fast.
Oh,
Can we discuss that as, we can't talk about this, but out in the public, so it's very awkward for us to try to figure out how to get through this.
Yeah,
We
it's
really
None of
wanted
this
to
was
talk
talked
about-
about in executive
nothing was talked
session. We're
about in
not allowed to do
executive, so
that.
that's why it's so awkward and quiet out here.
Yeah.
it's the weirdest thing. I remember sitting there.
You get two good candidates. It's hard.
very hard.
It's very hard.
It's just hard.
And they both had great answers.
Oh my
so,
gosh.
Yeah.
And great
Are
people.
you ready to vote or not? You want?
I'll go, at this point, I'll go with the majority.
Okay.
Okay.
Aye.
All right. Then, the Joint School District 171 welcomes Taylor McIntosh.
So
To the board.
motion carries.
Motion carried. Mhm.
Excellent.
And I have, a gift.
Well,
Wow.
during the discussion time, you can do that. I mean, that's
Oh,
what's there,
okay.
but
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can.
it's just hard when you have two good people.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Accept.
Brittany, thank you so much. It really was a tough call.
Okay.
And don't give up on school board because I guarantee you the job will come open at some point again.
Taylor, come on up.
Yeah, come on up.
No.
He's not been appointed. to
Oh, that's
vote.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's.
Oh, I thought, oh,
I
that's at
think
the next.
that's what
meeting.
happened.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's
You
right.
guys had me vote on something and I
And
wasn't
just
even on the school board
No,
yet.
It'll be
That's
next,
right.
next month's meeting.
So
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
go through the, so there's a
Processes,
code of
yeah.
ethics that you sign and that whole process. Yeah,
The-
Carmen's
the
really good at
boxes
helping us
Yeah.
with the rules.
I think she was gone. That's why we messed up on you.
Yeah.
Okay, the next action item we have is a bus routes and the safety busing that were presented by Derek via email.
Yeah, and I'll make a motion to accept the bus routes and safety busing as presented by Derek.
Okay.
And I'll second that.
Any discussion about that?
No, great stuff, Derek. Thanks for
Yeah.
putting that together.
Good report.
Non-transportation zones in your motion.
Okay, can we get a revision to that motion?
Like to amend my motion to accept the bus route safety busing to include and non-transportation zones.
Okay,
And I'll second that.
awesome. Discussion is helpful. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed. Okay. The second reading of policy 5600, the staff wellness committee.
Contract.
No, we have supplemental contracts.
Missed that one.
It's getting late.
Did it?
I'll make a motion to. Oh, I messed it up already. Go ahead, Brian. No, I was on the next one myself.
Can you
Oh.
say as
Supplemental.
presented?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so real quick, point of order. On the action items, 3 and 7 are the same.
That's what, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's what.
And the link is down at 7.
Okay.
Yeah,
So just pass on the one.
So should we pass on 3 and then get it on 7?
Sure.
yeah, we'll skip 3, go to 4. Madam Chair.
Okay. Yep. So I was correct with the staff wellness committee. 5600
Good job.
second read.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we accept the second read edition of policy 5600 as presented to the board.
I'll second.
Awesome. Any discussion? Staff, if you're out there, please use it. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Awesome. Okay, facility plan?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to for the facility plan as presented.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Just thanks to Roy for, that's a
Yeah,
lot
you
of
did an
work.
Excellent job.
Appreciate that. That was sorely needed. So,
And working through that whole, the state process.
Oh,
yeah.
The work that he had done prior to, and
Yeah.
yeah, really good stuff.
Don't forget, you guys got to sign some stuff.
Yep. Okay. So discussion, a vote. All those in favor?
aye.
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 Aye. Passed. New hires and separations?
I'll make a motion to accept the new hires and separations as presented.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Thank you for being willing to work with us. And then all in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Now we can approve the supplemental contracts.
I'll make a motion to approve the supplemental contracts as presented.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? We learned about these in negotiations. They're truly separate categories
Yeah.
and duties.
Great group of
So-
people taking on extra work though for not much pay.
Mhm.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of a passion piece.
Discussion.
Yeah, discussion.
Yep. Yep.
And I guess we talked a little bit, but just AD versus athletic manager,
Yeah,
same
yeah.
pay, but a different title.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
if anybody sees that, that athletic manager's taking over for the AD, but Corey's gonna still do a bunch of work without the pay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion pass. Approval of alternative authorizations. Can you help
What's
me?
that?
Yeah,
Can you help us, Jason?
That's what I was trying to do right now, and I'm not 100% that I can. So it's all any certified teacher that has to be on an alternative authorization. And
And that's the achieving the credentialing in a
yeah, so
process.
they're officially certified teachers, but they have to finish, they're all, it's different for every teacher. Everyone has to be on a plan with an institution. They all have a bachelor's degree first. They're just acquiring their certification. So we have to prove any that are on that.
And
Were those
there's the list.
listed or-
What I'm not seeing right now. That's why I
Oh.
was struggling.
Okay.
I feel like what I'm looking at is not. It's old.
And is that something that needs to happen prior to the instruction?
They definitely have to be approved each year.
Okay.
I'm looking at, it's not, let's see here.
Do you have an idea, principles of those in your buildings that we might be looking at?
Maybe we don't have any this year.
We do.
We do.
One in elementary for sure.
Timberline.
At OES.
So let me look at his names here.
Are they on
They're
that?
not in
That's
They're not in,
that's a supplemental
No,
contract,
it's-
so.
Do you have any, Corey? Two for the academy, probably, yeah.
Would they be
is
listed?
that the new teachers that they introduced at District Day? There were 3 new young.
Yeah.
Are we comfortable with approving those deemed necessary in the process?
I think I am because they still have to meet everything to, you know what I mean? They got a set
And who
requirement.
manages that?
The
District office has to submit the paperwork to the state approves them. And then they become certified when they complete the process.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, me too.
And I really don't know if it's discuss it in open meeting. That's why I was hesitant to
Right.
not say the names. I
Right.
felt a little, I wasn't sure. I would
Okay.
imagine that it's, you'd think that it would be public information, but I'm just not sure.
But it is personnel.
It is, so it
That's where
might
it's
not be.
kind
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think last time it was just a few names, but it was a separate that we couldn't share. I'm thinking of last year.
So it should have been an executive action.
I'm
And
not
now-
confident in that. I'm just not sure.
Right,
No, I
right,
just
right.
think the list wouldn't have been publicized, like
Right.
there's separations.
You're right.
Yep.
And new hires you can public,
Right.
but separations, you gotta be careful.
Right.
Why?
But this is an alternative authorization, so. I have faith in the process
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
and the
let's just-
team,
let's just
so-
move forward with it.
So.
Were they
you know,
listed?
Were they? Okay.
Okay, so it might be
So it's 2 from the academy.
perfect. So yeah, let's look at him.
Teacher, OES. I'll find that and tell you who it is.
He's gonna get him for us.
I don't know if I have the academy.
Can you hack in there, Russell, really quick? and-
Victoria.
Who is?
It's Victoria Martinez.
Oh, Farrah's
Farrah?
on?
Let's have Farrah help
At
us.
OES.
Farrah, can you help us, please?
Did you guys hear that? OES was Victoria Martinez.
Oh, okay.
And then I think IDYCA. Look, I think I know.
Is she speaking? Could Farrah give us these names?
She's actually there.
She's just moving her mouth.
Hey.
every once in a while.
Hi.
Hi,
Sorry.
Farrah.
Could you help us with number 8 action item?
Yes, well, so what I have done is looked at, we just have one new Altoff this year, and then we have a few from last year, so, let me just look at the list. So, and then are we discussing names?
Yes, we did last year, so we're hoping we didn't mess up last year.
Okay, yes, so IDYCA, we have Ryan Spaniel, the new hire, and then the rest of these people are people that we had on the list last year. So we have Victoria Martinez at OES.
Yep.
And a few of these, I'm not sure if they've gotten certified since, but Angela, I'm looking at Angela Anderson at the guard school, but she may have actually
Done.
Okay, perfect. So that worked out.
yeah.
So we have one at IDYCA and one at OES.
And so Jim at IDYCA, Ryan Spaniel at IDYCA, and yeah, actually Angela, I'm not sure if she's completed hers yet. Jim would know that. And then we have Annalie Hill at OJSHS, and maybe Becca could let us know if she's completed that all
Oh, it's working.
So it's just right.
So let's just make a
Just do-
motion. Yeah,
Okay.
Perfect. I'm feel really comfortable now.
Yep,
yeah.
so
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve alternative authorizations for Jim Hill, Victoria Martinez, and Ryan Spaniel.
I'll second.
thank you, Farah. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Yeah, there we go. All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes, discussion. Thank you, Farah.
Motion carries. Yep, thank you. Okay, last action item.
Do we know the dollar amount
Okay.
on that?
I was just gonna look at the superintendent's report again.
Yep.
So the dollar.
Jason's
amount-
gonna pull it up for me.
Perfect.
Okay. So $170,536 is being recommended that we use in the proprietary fund to cover the Blue Cross coverage for staff, as well as cover the cost of the desired employee assistance program addition.
170, 536.
I was
Can we
about to
have
make a
a,
motion.
can we have a motion? Oh, Brian. is-
He's going
on it,
to,
right?
yeah.
Trying to get the numbers right.
And so the current balance is almost 1.9.
1.9, and
Oh,
we're
wow.
been advised to keep above a million,
Moving that
Keep above
Yeah.
a million.
and we're
moving
pulling
that
a
to-
That's a
little
little
under
bit more than-
200,000 after, so we're still doing well.
Yeah.
Directly this amount.
You ready?
All right, I'll make a motion that we take $170,536 out of the proprietary insurance fund to pay directly to Blue Cross for the 24-25 medical insurance.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? And if you recall, the employee assistance program was an added benefit that we agreed to. It ties along with that wellness piece for our staff as desired.
Yep.
So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye. Motion carries. That's it. We made it.
Yeah.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
See
So the
ya
next meeting, Taylor, is September 16th.
in Orofino.
The Orofino Junior Senior High School. And Jason, can we can send Taylor the superintendent goals statement. So a little bit of homework, take a look at those goals. And the framework came from the Idaho School Board Association and feedback. So the rule is we can't communicate with all of us at the same time. So all your feedback to the superintendent and then it goes on.
It's gonna feel weird when you can't reply to all. You can only reply to one. It drives me crazy because I'm a reply to all type person.